Tonight on the Worldview Weekend Hour, the convergence of end-time events. Have you noticed that things are heating up and they're moving quickly, and things that were once unthinkable are now happening, and many of them are happening at the same time? What does the Bible have to say about how fast things are moving? And did Jesus himself speak about the convergence of end-time events? What did Jesus say about the convergence of end-time events? Does the Bible speak about the fact that when these things begin to happen, they're going to happen very, very quickly? Indeed, Jesus did speak about these issues as a convergence of events, and the Bible does speak about them happening very quickly when they begin to unfold. Now, let me make something very clear tonight. What I'm talking about tonight is the second coming. But we know that the rapture of the church, whether you hold to pre-trib, mid-trib, post-trib, pre-wrath, whatever, the rapture of the church is before the second coming, right? The second coming is when Christ literally puts his foot down on earth once again. So many of the things that Jesus spoke about as signs to be watching for are in relation to his second coming. But that tells us that if the events around the second coming are being fulfilled, then that means that, well, the rapture happens before that, right? So again, we can argue eschatology all day long if we want to. Some pre-trib, mid-trib, post-trib, pre-wrath, whatever. But the reality is we are seeing the foundation being laid for what Jesus spoke about, which was his second coming. Whether it's Luke 21, the correlation passages in Matthew 24, there are a lot of signs. And people say, well, what does it matter? This doesn't matter. This is something we shouldn't be talking about. In fact, Rick Warren wrote a few years ago, one of his books, when it comes to Bible prophecy, God has said it's none of your business. Really? That's not in the Bible, Rick. In fact, we'll see tonight that Jesus himself said that to the religious leaders of his day, you can discern the weather, but you cannot understand the times. And in fact, there's a special blessing for those who seek to understand the book of Revelation that is filled with what? Bible prophecy. We're one of the few organizations, and this is why our organization is followed by so many, as Dr. Andy Woods has said many times, pastor. He is a pastor. He's a theologian. He has a PhD in theology. He's a seminary president. He has said many times, Brandon, your organization is one of the few worldview organizations that will also talk about Bible prophecy. Well, I don't know how you can understand the worldview issues if you don't put them in the context of eschatology. So let's get started. Here we go. The convergence of end-time events. The convergence of end-time events. Now, I'm going to rattle off for you a long list of things that are converging. Well, there's a one-world economy converging. There's the mark of the beast technology. There's one world government in the offing. There's a one world religion being established. There's the Jews. They're returning to Israel. The third temple in Jerusalem. They're talking about it. There's the red heifer. Oh, wow. That one's exciting. They got to have one of those. And maybe they just received one from Texas, from the United States of America, Israel. Then there's the issue of, after the red heifer, there's Israel's treasure. Israel's treasure. Then there's Israel surrounded by her enemies. Israel surrounded by her enemies. And then there's the Jews are prepared to be deceived by a false Messiah. The Jews are being prepared to be deceived by a false Messiah. Then there's the rise of anti-Semitism, the rise of anti-Semitism. Then there's global famine. Does the Bible speak about a global famine? Indeed it does. And then there are plagues. The Bible speaks to that as well. And then after plagues, we talk about wars and rumors of wars. And then earthquakes, the rise of apostasy. All of these things are talked about in the scripture. How about this? The rise of false Christ, the rise of humanism and hedonism. Humanism, the belief that man is God or man is his own God. Hedonism, the belief that life is about just pursuing pleasure. So we have the rise of humanism and the rise of hedonism. Now, there are two different types of humanism. There's secular humanism and there's cosmic humanism. We've gotten into that before, but we're going to just put it in the general category of humanism, the belief that man is God. A man is the captain of his own future or soul. And if you believe there is no soul, you're a secular humanist, you at least believe you're the captain of your own destiny while you're on this earth. So we'll put humanism under one title, the rise of humanism and hedonism. The rise of false prophets. These are all the various things that are converging. And what are the odds they're all converging at the same time? We're going to get into this